Welcome to the Butterfly Effect, Stage 6, and Arnaud Démare wins a second time at the Giro. There was a bit of a low period at today's race, one of the few stages in this year's 2020 season where we haven't seen a whole lot of action. It wasn't boring by any means, but not the highlights that we've become used to. But the finish would not disappoint, with Arnaud Démare, of course, taking an emphatic win with a pure brute force. He probably even had a time gap there on Michael Matthews at the finish. I'll go back and talk about what happened earlier in the stage before we went over the bigger climb that would cause a little bit of pain in the legs. When we saw race leader Joao Almeida, he pulls over to the right side of the road with his Deceuninck quick step, and then one of the riders is caught napping and runs into the back of the race leader, it looks like. Folks, what was he doing back there? A lot of people always ask when you see a jersey come off. Most of the time, almost unless it's an accident or something, or a bathroom run, of course, all the other times when you're seeing a jersey come off, what they're looking for back there is to try to get to this pocket. All of the pros' jerseys have a special pocket sewed into the top up here, and this is where they're putting their race radio into to communicate with the other teammates and, of course, with their director in the car. Clearly, he was having a problem with it. What normally needs to happen is the jersey has to come off in order to get to this pocket a lot of times. If it's slow, if it's really fast, a teammate will go in there and lift his hand up while we're pedaling. Your teammate will come in from the side, lift his hand up in there, pull the radio out, unplug it. But it's a little bit more dangerous than if you can just pull over. At that point in time in the race, it's going a little bit smoother. They have time to pull the jersey off, get to the pocket, and normally it's safe and easy. Of course, on today's stage, one of the riders in the field was caught napping. When you look at Deceuninck Quickstep, they were clearly off to the right side of the road. Most of the group, if not everyone, that was not napping should have seen that, and there should have been no issue whatsoever. Instead, in today's stage, you see where the Deceuninck Quickstep rider gets hit, and then a little bit of stress and cures. It's not that big of a deal in the long run. Nobody got hurt, but just so you know, there's a special pocket in all of the bib shorts of the race teams where they run their radio. For me, I did always like to have it in my right pocket most of the time. It makes it easy for me to get back there, pull it out, disconnect it, go back to the team car and change radios, and then I got a fresh 100% functioning radio. But like I said, I was very rare. Almost all of the riders preferred the pocket in the back here of their bib shorts. It made it difficult to change, but that's where they keep it. Now let's get to the finish. And BORA-Hansgrophe had rode almost all the day, if not, we'd probably call it 95%, 99% of the day. It was a pretty big workout for the BORA-Hansgrophe. And today's sprint finish, when we come in from 1.5K to go, it looks perfect. They have Matteo Fabreau, who's up there, and he's doing an amazing job, a huge pull. I was very, very impressed with what that rider had done. We'd seen him earlier in a few of the harder stages of this Giro, really riding strong at the front. But from that 1K until Vincenzo Nibali goes, he had done an amazing pull there for Peter Sagan. And Sagan's a little bit close to the front, considering he only has one teammate there. It's still too far to go. But when Vincenzo Nibali attacks, honestly, I thought maybe Vincenzo and Sagan had talked and had decided to help each other out a little bit. And that does happen in the group. You look at Trek Segafredo, they don't have a sprinting team. They're really riding for GC. BORA-Hansgrophe is more of one, tacking for stages or winning the sprint or the sprint leader's jersey with Peter Sagan. So these two teams coming together really is a great marriage. I mean, this is a fantastic coming together, and Vincenzo Nibali and Peter Sagan have been teammates in the past, so they both know each other, possibly they're friends, and they speak the same language and can understand each other. So when Vincenzo Nibali takes off and you see Peter Sagan slide on, I honestly thought the two had worked something out for this stage and then possibly later stage with Peter Sagan's BORA-Hansgrophe team returning the favor. It happens all the time. I've been part of it. I've seen it happen. It's there. It always exists. We're two teams that won't upset each other's flow, but will actually help. Makes for a great marriage. So that's what I thought I was seeing when Vincenzo Nibali took over and started to lead into the right turn. Later we see He goes into the turn. He can't quite make the turn. He slows everything down. Peter Sagan gets stuck on the front, and I'm ready for him to just now get swarmed. We see Rafał Majka weave his way through and directly start taking the front. And again, at that moment, I'm thinking, wow, this is fantastic. Sagan's got another guy to keep it fast. He has a chance of going podium here for sure. We all know he hasn't been sprinting absolutely at his best lately in this 2020 season. He's been seconds and thirds and fourths, but the win just hasn't been there. He hasn't won in over a year. It's been a long time since Peter Sagan's taken a win. But when Rafał Majka takes the front, this is a great how-to moment. If you really want to understand how to do sprints and how not to do sprints, I would take this film as a director and I would show this film to my riders all the time to help explain to them how you can help your sprinter more than just going fast on the front. So Rafał Majka takes the front. He's not going fast enough to actually lead Peter Sagan out of the 2 left turns that are coming up. Now, here's the really technical side of being a lead-out man. Because a team like the Kunik Quick-Step would already know these strategies. They would have employed it perfectly, and Peter Sagan would have podiumed him on today's stage. Maybe even won, because if it was done right, if you look at the second to last turn, when Rafał Majka looks back, he knows he's going to get swarmed. At that moment, if he goes hard, if he goes inside, hard to the outside, he's going to stop that flow, and Peter Sagan is just going to flow up the inside and still be in the front. If Rafał Majka does it correctly, he's going to actually impede Arnaud Démar's flow and possibly cost Arnaud the win and give Peter Sagan a better odds at winning today's stage. Okay, so he had the first option on the first left to swing outside and slow the fast Astana train with Arnaud Démar on there and just cause them to have to hit the brakes and come back inside as Sagan passes inside. That didn't happen. We all know that, okay? So the next butterfly effect is, since that didn't happen, now you see Astana coming up on the outside again and passing and getting ready to go into the second and last left-hand turn. At that moment, Peter Sagan is still near his teammate Rafał Majka's wheel, and it looks like Rafał Majka will know to stay all the way inside, and Peter Sagan can split between Rafał Majka and Davide Cimilai. Now what happens, as you see, the tree blocks the view, but as you see them come out of the tree, out of the last left-hand turn, it looks as though Peter Sagan either had to hit the brakes hard or possibly went shoulder into the back hip of Davide Cimilai, and then that slowed the process, as of course Jakob Fuglsang with Astana and Arnaud Démar and Michael Matthews now all in front and passing. Now, if you look at that last left turn really closely, if Rafał Majka stays on the inside and Sagan can come up and pass, he will actually pass Davide Cimilai and come out directly on the wheel of Arnaud Démar, who's passing on the right outside of that final last turn. Now, Peter Sagan sees that. He knows that. He's hoping his teammate goes left. He'll shoot up between there, and he'll actually come out right on Arnaud Démar's wheel. Now, is he going to beat Arnaud Démar? No one here is going to say that he would have beat Arnaud Démar. Démar looked fabulous. Absolutely. The gap he did when he accelerated just blew everybody off the wheel. Michael Matthews lost easily a second in that sprint. So I don't believe that if Peter Sagan comes out of that last left on Arnaud Démar's wheel, does he win? But that first left, if Rafał Majka had moved right and slowed that train, that might have cost Arnaud Démar any chance of winning today's stage for sure, that I believe. So there was multiple times where Rafał Majka could have helped Peter Sagan either place better and keep the sprint leader's jersey, possibly win the stage, cost Arnaud Démar a chance at winning the stage, therefore leaving the stage open better for Peter Sagan. Today was really an exciting stage to save and keep as a sprinting team so that you can explain what not to do, okay? What Rafał Majka did today is exactly what not to do when you're leading out a sprinter at this quality of a field. You have to do better. every time when you're done pulling or you're getting swamped and you're on the front and you're the lead out man, you have to cause some chaos to everyone but your sprinter. So Rafael Majka really today caused more chaos for Peter Sagan than he did for anybody else in the race. It's a very, very good stage to keep it, save it on your hard drive, show it to sprinter, show it especially to your guys leading out your sprinter. Very exciting information today. I was really impressed. I rewatched the sprint stage, the last 1K, many times to dissect it for you guys. Hope you appreciated it. Hope you enjoyed the butterfly effect. I'll see you real soon.